Now, okay, out of all the federal cases that I've read, this one is perhaps sort of confusing, well, more complicated than anything. But let's go by like the facts mainly, what we know for sure. Now, Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias de Cantera was a narco gang that was formed around 2006 mainly by a man named Kiki Cantera. In 2019, Puerto Rican indicted 75 suspects from U.S. $76 million drug ring. The group known as Las Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias de Cantera, Las Farcs, has been linked to over a dozen killings and is known to feed the remains of the victims to the pet reptiles. Now, I think just by the name, the Fuerzas is captured the name from the Farcs and the term, revolucionario in it and all that. And the year I'm thinking that, perhaps a group of narcos or narco bosses from around the Santurce area, from the barrios, united, what I'm saying, underneath the umbrella of Cantera, or perhaps not, all together, what I'm saying, to stop their, La Uno invasion from some of the Santurce, if you think about it. La Uno really did not, they only had like one, caserio and, Santurce. They wasn't really in the barrios of Santurce like that. So, I'm thinking that this group was formed to, to try to combat them and keep them out. Another guy who was sort of part of all this was, Narco Bars from, Villa Palmera, maybe the Calma sector of Villa Palmera named Omar Calma. Now, Omar Calma, now, I don't know for sure if he was part of FARC, but one thing was for sure about him, he had beef with members of La Uno. And with Presidencia you don't Torres, which in a way is Los Park's main enemy. He supposedly, allegedly, ordered the murder of Luis Angel Rodriguez Isaac, alias Chacal, leader of a gang out of Joron Torres. Now, like I said, man, we had this coalition that was formed within Santurce, man, and we had these guys, which I think basically was beefing with each other beforehand or whatever, man. But either as soon as the La Uno plan was over, man, or whatever, it seemed like these guys went straight to beefing, or probably that we would stop beefing with each other, man. And because maybe all their cases is them killing each other, or people that was from other subsets that of FARC that where probably over the beefing with another subset from Santurce, and basically these guys were just gunning each other. In 2017, Carlos Baez Rosa, alias Tonka, co-founder of the FARC from La Cantera section, and cousin to Kiki Cantera, was hanging out with his close personal friend, Ozuna, was murdered on Paseo de Línea in the Cantera section of Barrio Obrero. After hanging out with Ozuna, a car full of people pulled up and jumped out and let out more than 70 rounds into the area where Donka was at. Accused of his murder was fellow two FARC members, Chino Oriental and White Damel. Ozuna escaped from the incident unscathed. He initially lied about being there. However, his Land Rover was discovered at the scene of the crime with his wallet in the truck and also $6,500. There was rumored Chino Oriental, who was the man who was running Los Margaritas Caseríos in Santurce, was jealous of the relationship between Tonka and Ozuna. Ozuna was a celebrity and he was doing things for Tonka, such as maybe laundering money, allegedly. Apparently, Chino Oriental wanted some of that action. It is said that a confrontation went down in the night of question in the nightclub in Cantera, which resulted in the murder. Now, another person who was caught up in all this, like entanglement with the Farcs and all that, or actually was one of the faces, main faces that that was put out there. Was this girl, man? She was a social media influencer by the name of Pinky Kirby. There's a daughter, Nevis Cruz. She, like I said, she was a social media personality person. She had her own fashion line and a makeup tutorial video on YouTube or whatever. She had makeup tutorials on her YouTube or whatever, so she was known through that. She was indicted with the Farcs on money laundering charges, which at the time I thought made sense because usually that's what happens, man. So when I always tell people, man, be careful what you put in your name, or if someone wants to put something in your name, because the money laundering law was basically made up to go after people's families, to go after drug dealers' families, and people who has money that's trying to hide it. So that's what that law was designed for. So, I thought, okay, yeah, girl, pretty girl, man, had a, don't deal with boyfriend. I was reading, for a long out and they were talking about, yeah, basically, she dated, drug dealers or whatever. But not shit. A couple of days later, man, after her arraignment and she was given bond for the money laundering charges, they brought her back and we charged her for actually, conspiracy of heroin and cocaine. Now, people Kirby grew up around the Oriental and the Cantera areas. It is said, I'm going to say allegedly here or whatever, I don't, well, first of all, Arte Northern Arte or Oriental, Oriental is actually a sector from, from San Juan. It's just a little bit above Aitole, a little bit south of San Dulce. I guess it's between. It's not that big. But it's known to have this barrio called San Jose. Now, San Jose, if you're familiar with that area, everyone knows that San Jose, hot spot, there's a lagoon there that everyone uses to dump their bodies. Most recent, the boxer, that Felix Verdejo, he killed one of his mistresses and he attempted to throw the body into the lagoon or whatever, but this isn't her, is that she's known to use, manipulate people with her beauty to get what she wants. But apparently, according to the feds and according to everyone else in that neighborhood, that, basically what she wanted was to either move up in the narco game or become queen pin herself or whatever. Pretty much like the same thing that her fellow influencer, Claudia Ochoa Felix, did in Mexico with Los Antrax. Now, whatever she did got someone really pissed off. In October 2020, Pinky Curry was murdered. Now, in 2020, man, they said that she was returning from a wedding reception in October 17, 2020, and that she went to the Cantera area, to go pick up her new boyfriend, some Bichote, I believe his name is Edwin Rivera Perez. He was a Bichote from out of the Cataño area. So it is said that basically that she was, setting up shop, getting ready to set up shop to, to make her move or whatever. And I guess they, I don't know, it sounds like they already established a spot in Cantera. And perhaps she was going to get him, or they was scouting the area out, whatever, to see who was around or whatnot. But someone peeped her out, and in a stolen red car basically chased them down and gunned him and her down. He lived and she died. There's a video that's pretty much out there, showing the incident that occurred that night. Basically, like 3 different videos actually. Basically, like I said, man, she picked them up from a place, and then they were in Arte, and a red car pulled up on them and started letting loose. 2 different cameras caught that footage. It's basically all over social media, YouTube, whatever. They said the actions by Pinky Kirby angered this man, Vladimir Natavia Abreu. Like, they call him Vladdy. He's known as Flacco also. Now, Natia Abrayu, this man, they say, is the maximum leader, allegedly is the maximum leader of the fights, like fights. That he is responsible for several murders. That, and this is all allegedly, and I'm very, emphasis on allegedly because if you're Puerto Rican, and you're from Puerto Rico, you know how the Puerto Rican people are, how Puerto Rico island is in general, you know what I'm saying? Everything. But to catch people off who don't know real fast, Puerto Rico is basically the island that lives off Bonchinche. Is, basically Puerto Rican slang for gossip. Puerto Ricans live by that. I mean, it's part of the culture over there. It's part of the down there embedded in the DNA. It's so bad that people would rather, take, fuck the actual, the actual news reports the Bonchinche instead of the real actual news and real actual facts. And I think it goes down to all the way to the police, to everybody, but they just believe in gossip. Now, this is, all allegedly because, this man really, I've been reading the case, and I go by, my experiences, I did 12, I did prison time. I know basically how the courts work and everything else and all that, you know what I'm saying? I know how to read through paperwork and everything. And by what I read about this individual right here, that, and by my comprehension, the police reports and the, media reports. The police reports now, okay, let me cut, all right, real fast. Said that her actions and her trying to attempt and take over the Santuce area or whatever, wife, whatever, angered him, right? Now, this man's been on the run since 2019. He was caught, I think, earlier this year in 2020, or earlier in the year, this year, 2021. He was caught in the Dominican Republic. Now, he's been over there. They've been saying he was over there for the longest. They knew he was over there since for 2 years, at least right now, right? So it's not him personally. They feel that he's manipulating all the pieces, though, to people do stuff you know what I'm saying? But they said that the stuff that she was trying to pull angered him. Now, I don't know what relationship he had with Pete Curry. Now, they said that Pete Curry was a fart. Now, I don't know if it was this man or not, or whoever else, whatever, but he was upset. And he actually felt that by allegedly allegations, felt that, she was trying to step on and interfere with what he was doing. Now, they're trying to say that he was responsible also for the murders of other fight leaders in other sections of Santuce. They, so he can move in the muscle. Basically, he was moving out of the territory, but he wanted all the territory for himself. But, like I said, man, it's alleged because, they say that he was behind her murder, that he sent this man. Now, I had told you guys at first, man, that basically, man, this is, confusing and real complicated. Now, I'm real good with reading and comprehending. I'm real good with reading between the lines, I thought, just because of my, intuition and everything else, man. My actual research that I look up and everything, man. When I research people or anything like that, this is where shit is gets kind of complicated, man, for me, man. Now, he allegedly sent this guy, and I'm strong emphasis on, allegedly. He allegedly sent this man. Now, this man's named David Baptiste, right? Now, allegedly, he was responsible for Pinky Curry's murder and several other murders that I'm going to get at. But this individual, man, doesn't even connect them. This guy, he's from Ponce, right? First of all, he was on the run for 2 murders from Barrio Torque, right? And, basically, I guess he ran to the Santuce area, but I guess a few weeks before, he was, I guess, locked up or whatever, man. Well, according to, whatever reports that he was recruited in jail somewhere by the Farcs to, open, run, whatever, do operations and bullshit and whatnot, right? And so allegedly, he sends this man who's already on the run for bullshit for 2 murders, right? And this guy's on the run, and, what I figure he's on the run and start doing shit, right? But, this man, he's not on any of them indictments, the Farcs from 2019. Obviously, he was actually just released, I think, went through or shortly before. But everything, this man right here, right, all this comes out when this man right here, in early January of 2021, he shot and killed 3 Puerto Rican police officers. Not only, not only that he was responsible for the murder of Pete Curry, but responsible for over 100 murders. Responsible for over 100 murders, or was involved in 100 murders. So what? And this only comes out after not only did he shoot the police and the supposed liquid phone, but after 7 hours later, after they found his bullet-riddled body and the dumps of Santurce, with a sign on his chest saying that he was the one responsible for the murders of the policeman. Here I am, on his chest, written like on a cardboard box, placed across him or whatever. So, and like I was saying, he was allegedly responsible for 100 murders, right? You're gonna tell me you're gonna wait until, okay, you killed the policeman, that's wrong or whatever, but what you think a guy who was wild, okay, before these four people here, there was allegedly 96 people more, supposedly, they were responsible for it. And he wasn't even on no political just wanted, how to do channel on YouTube and all that. He's never been on there, basically. I mean, he did have them 2 murders he was on the run for. He was wanted for the 2 murders and them Dulce and Ponce, but if he was allegedly involved with 96 other murders, don't you think, man, that's beyond serial killer status, Another person, man, that was basically mixed up in a lot of stuff was this guy, man, Carlos Soto alias Wi-Fi. Now, they try to say that he's a part from, this guy, he's from the Caguas area. And he was wanted for like 3-4 murders out of Yabacoa, I believe Yabacoa, Puerto Rico, and another place, I think Isabella something, man, out of the housing projects down there. But they said that this person and another person were responsible for more than 100 murders also. Now, Carlos Toto, he was the first one that they accused that night. And before later on, they let that rumor run for about a day before later on when they found Batiste dead. And then, they got all the video footage that Batiste acted alone. But, so they did clear old boy's name after, they found out it was Batiste who was by himself. But, they still said that this person, was responsible for over 100 murders also. Why, sir? Yeah, you see here that, supposedly they even filed these charges in absentee. More than 100 murder charges are filed against Wi-Fi and 6 other individuals. Is what this newspaper article read. Eventually, Wi-Fi was arrested. The only charges that I've seen thus far against Carlos Cotto, alias Wi-Fi, has been the felony firearm charge that he was on parole for from the feds, and the possession of the drugs that he was captured with, which was like 8 kilos of cocaine, 4 kilos of heroin, 10 pounds of weed, and some other drugs that were bagged up and hidden in the paint cans, like ready for distribution, ready to be distributed through caseríos that he was running. And 100 allegedly murder charges that supposedly he was involved with. Not one has been charged against him so far. So, which is crazy because, you said that this person is responsible for 100 murders, perhaps, and perhaps a lot of the murders, how a lot of people know, man, that this person wasn't involved or whatnot, man. But basically, man, for people who basically don't know what's going on or whatever, you know, you say that you captured one, the person that possibly was responsible for, murdering your loved one, get this person's hopes up, and then, just not being the person at all, or this person wasn't involved with this murder, and doesn't even know nothing about it, maybe, and, basically you get people's hopes up, and, you knock them down, man, with these false allegations that you put against people, and not saying that Cotto was not involved in any murders. I'm just saying this ain't even the person involved. So yeah. Now another individual who's basically wrapped into this web of unsolved murders that was supposedly committed by the Farcs is this man, Kevin Fred. Now Kevin Fred was an openly homosexual land trap artist. And allegedly what was going on was allegedly Kevin Fred was supposedly have been extorting Ozuna. If you guys don't know who Ozuna is, man, he's a land trap artist. He's pretty famous out there in Puerto Rico and all Latin America. The reason of him, Mr. Frank extorting Ozuna, man, basically, man, if you guys know all about this situation and all that, I'm not gonna put it out there, man, basically, but there's Kevin Frank has a younger sister that she has a channel. So not only that, there's a lot of stuff that's connected to this case, and there's a lot of stuff going on with it. So I mean, he has a sister called Dorian Fred, and she has a channel called Fred Family, and basically she puts face down the whole situation of what does she have, but it was murdered, in Villa Palmera, and like I think in January or whatever. But however, man, around that time, there was a lot of killings towards homosexual and people of transsexual nature. I'll say there was murders that basically unsolved. I mean, they were happening in different parts of towns or whatever, and basically they were labeling it someone as an individual targeting, homosexual people. And now I'm not saying that, Del Zuna or the FARC or anyone was not involved with the situation. Like I said, Mr. Kevin Fred was killed and they took his phone, and according to people close to him, that he had a lot of evidence on that phone towards Ozuna. But what I find weird about it is that Ozuna is sort of being open about this situation that occurred with Fred. So that's the only thing that kind of bothers me a little bit. That it's kind of known about what was going on between them. I mean, he was pretty much open with it before. There was records of him reporting restraining orders and all this stuff. So, but however, man, there was a serial killer. Serial killer, you have to say, that was targeting homosexual individuals. And what if this person, this situation that was basically at the time being, put out there, and everyone knew what was going on with the situation with Ozuna and Kevin Fred, that this person didn't target Kevin Fred. And I'm not saying that Ozuna denying us to do with this. I don't know anything about the facts about it, but at the time there was a brass serial killings towards, people of, LGBTQ community area. So, yeah, that's one thing about that one. Now, other crimes allegedly connected to Lafarge were a concert being shot up that Daddy Yankee was hosting in a Coliseum in Puerto Rico. And reggaeton record executive Rafi Piña's studio in Caguas, Puerto Rico being shot up. Now, Daddy Yankee or Rafi Piña never they never really accused the court. Nothing. They haven't said about anyone who was responsible for that venue and the Happy Penguin studio being shoot up. But I think according to Don Omar that this all happened because some sort of Fed investigation has been going on against Happy Penguin of late. And I believe that Pennsylvania is facing some kind of charges, man. I think they're on federal gun law charges or something like that or whatnot. He's fighting the cases or whatever, but he's been getting a lot of pressure from the feds, and that supposedly, according to Don Omar, which with Don Omar, let me get this straight also, he also does not implicate the Farcs involvement in this, but this is through like gossip through the social media and gossip through the bochinche channels on Facebook. But according to all this gossip and bochinche, that Peña had cooperated against someone who was close to Los Farcs. Now they never said no name. This is according to rumors, and by what I've looked up supposedly all this was happening because that, according to Don Omar or whatnot. Now, on December 20th, 2020, Dominican authorities arrested Vladimir Natarra Abreu, and it's like his right-hand man, Josue Rivera Valero, I believe his name is. They were arrested in the Dominican Republic and immediately extradited to Puerto Rico, which Puerto Rico immediately extradited them to Atlanta, I believe, or to Miami. But they were immediately extradited out of Puerto Rico. Now, they were charged. Now, it seems like the hearings are being held in Atlanta or wherever, virtual, whatever, but basically we don't get too much information there's not too much information about the official charges, but what is being said that we're charged with in the beginning, Natarra Abreu was charged basically with just normal drug trafficking charges. Basically with just not even running a criminal enterprise, just basically, drug trafficking and normal drug trafficking charges, right? Nothing that I would think that, even though the media says that he's facing life in prison, he might be facing a large amount of years in prison for the drug trafficking, but it's just, the official charge is just normal, I think, drug trafficking or something like that. And really, this guy probably wouldn't get that much time for that charge. Now, they haven't said nothing about any of these murder charges that supposedly that he was responsible for or had a hand in or being the maximum leader of a criminal enterprise such as the Farcs. There's no charges related to that. There's no kingpin charges. There's no RICO charges. There's nothing like that. That's thrusted. Now, him being housed out of Puerto Rico, the way he's being housed and the way the case has been treated, it seems like there's something severe, going on with his charges. But as what I've read, is not, it's regular drug trafficking charges. It's not charges that's really heavy. So it just makes me think is this Puerto Rican media, people just making shit up, or the fans like over exaggerate and stuff, and I really don't know. Now sometime earlier this year in 2001, authorities said that they arrested the person they believe was responsible for the murder of Pinky Kirby, which this individual that goes by the nickname of Kaola. Yeah. However, no charges really have been brought against this man about the murder of Pinky Kirby, or really they haven't even said nothing else about it afterwards, after the arrest of this person, this other than he was suspected in a murder. Now this was through media. Now I don't know if the media got that from the police or whatnot, but still no charges or no person has been officially charged for the murder of Pinky Kirby. Like I said, man, this fight thing, man, is really confusing, man, and believe, man, I'm gonna keep everyone posted, man, on any information I get, because, like I said, all these cases are ongoing, man, and especially the indictments are ongoing. Even though You know, most of them guys, 75 people who've been indicted, they've been released, you know, because they didn't have serious enough charges or they didn't have hard enough evidence for the stuff that they said that these individuals was accused of. So, you know, I keep everyone posted, man, on the Natera Abreu situation and, of course, this situation with Picky Kirby, man, and all that, man. So, you know, out, man. I'm out, man. So, you know, you guys have a good day. Please like and subscribe.